Hey, happy Friday. Yeah, as usual, I'm back. Hope you had a great Friday. Hope all was well. I hope you just, you laughed a little, maybe even cried a little. Um, Maybe you just was sad a little, or maybe you had a lot of joy, but that's all a part of life, you all. And we're not going to escape any of that stuff. But, tonight or today or whenever you watch this, we're talking about, do you read the signs? Reading the signs, do you read them? We have signs all over the place, right? Signs in life. We have signs of hope. We have signs of concern. We have signs of truth. We have signs of danger. We have signs of peace. All kinds of signs that come into our purview, whether it's a physical sign, like a street sign or a highway sign, or an internal sign, right? A feeling or an unction or a doubt, those are signs. And so my question is, do you read or acknowledge your signs? On the highway of life, in order for us to be successful, there are signs. And it's just like when we drive on the street or on the highway with our cars, there are signs. There are signs that say slow down. There are signs that say stop. There are signs that say, caution. There are signs that say you can walk. There are signs that says go, yield. Signs say icy road. The signs that say go this way if you want to get there. There's all kind of signs. And, in order for us to have order and not chaos in the world, we have to have signs. That is applicable in our natural life and our spiritual life. And so just like we have signs in the earth, God gives us signs too, right? God gives us signs. We talk about it. God, give me a sign. And we read in the Bible where folks were given a sign or an unction or a feeling, knowing that something was about to happen, or knowing to redirect or knowing to do something different. So, signs are just a part of life. When my dad was funny, whenever you were riding with my dad, whether it was on the highway or the streets, he would let you go down a wrong way street. And you'd be like, why did you let me do that? He said, did you read your sign, Marquita? He did my sister, my mom, all of us like that. We could be on the highway. He would let you pass your exit. And he'll be like, why did you say something? He said, did you read your sign? You got to read your signs. If you're going to be a good driver, Marquita, if you're going to be a good navigator in life, you got to read your signs. And my mom was always tell a story when he was teaching her how to drive. One day she just got out the car because he said, did you read your sign? He let her went down a one-way street. So, my dad was a very huge proponent of you reading the signs, not just in natural life, in your natural life, but also I think my father was a very huge person who read signs in his spiritual life or in his inward person. He used to always say, Marquita, you know what I do with problems? I said, what? He said, I get rid of them right away because they grow. So for him, those were signs. So I just wanted to talk about, are you reading your signs? Because the Bible says, in Proverbs chapter 27, verse 12, the prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. Proverbs 27 and 12 NIV version says, the prudent, the wise, see danger and take refuge, they hide. But the simple keep going and pay the penalty, and they suffer. So, a wise person will read the signs to avoid the danger, to redirect, to hide themselves from danger. But a foolish person don't read the signs. And so I just want to help us to understand that the signs are there, once again, for order, for safety, for us to avoid danger, accidents, for us to stay healthy. And so, and I think I just said several reasons why we won't. See, why we won't read the signs, right? Sometimes we see the signs, but we don't pause to read them. We see them, we don't pause them. They're all along the highway. They're all along in our lives. And your heart is telling you don't do this, but you just ignore it. Sometimes we see the signs and choose to ignore them, right? We either don't pause to read them, or we read them and we choose to ignore them. If that person is abusive early in the relationship, don't ignore that sign. You see it, but you choose to ignore it. You can see the stop sign. And because you're in a hurry, you'll run on through it. You won't stop. You saw it, but you chose not to heed to it. And then sometimes we're just so distracted in life, with cares and woes and worries and doubts and fears and turmoil, till we just, we don't want to see the sign. I don't want to believe that this person would do this to me. I don't want to believe that if I don't start this business, because everybody else around me is starting a business, but all the signs are pointing to me that I shouldn't start this business. But because I want to be in business, because I want to say that I'm in business like everybody else, I just go on and do it. But everything about the sign said this was not a good business venture. God has given us signs. Signs in the natural, signs in the, in the spiritual, for us to take heed to, so that we can stay safe, so that we can stay whole, so that we can avoid danger, so we can avoid temptation, lust. There are signs. I'm going to tell you, I don't know if you all watch Boys in the Hood, one of the most iconic movies that was ever made. And, Trey, played by Cuba Gooding, best friend Ricky had been murdered, and he was angry, and Ricky's brother Doughboy, his crew was going to get the revenge from Ricky's murder. And so Trey gets in the car with him, and Trey was not on the trajectory of being a hood guy. He was getting ready to go to college. But he wanted to, at that moment, as a response to his initial anger, he wanted to go kill the people who had killed his friend. But at some point, as they rode and couldn't find the people, Trey came to his senses. He started to acknowledge the signs. The signs was that his life was going in another direction. So he says, the Doughboy, let me out of the car. I can't go because I'm about to do something that I can't come back from. I'm about to ignore the signs in my life that I have an opportunity. I have a future. Can you imagine? It's a fictitious story, but can you imagine if he had went on and did what he had to do and ended up in jail, never went to college, just because he avoids the signs? I'm going to tell you to be like Trey. Don't just avoid, don't read your signs. Get out of the car if you know you're headed into danger. Don't do that business venture if you know you're going to be bankrupt in the next 6 months. Now, don't get me wrong. God will give us a rite of passage, right? There's some things God says, I don't care what that sign says to them, you can go. That you can do. But until then, God has put signs in the earth for us. Signs in our natural, signs in the spiritual. If you're going to walk the highways of life successfully or drive the highways of life successfully, you're going to have to read your signs. Much love, Keita.